Okay, welcome to We Are Triathletes live broadcast with Karlyn Pipes. I'm really, really excited to have Karlyn on the show. She is a total inspiration to me, and I know to all of you guys out there as well. She is one of the world's fastest swimmers. She was also inducted into the USMS International Hall of Fame. And she wrote this amazing book, The Do-Over. And if you guys have not read this book, it is fantastic and definitely worth the read. And you can pick it up on Amazon, or I'm sure you could pick it up on her website as well. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Karlyn. Hey, Karlyn, welcome
Good
to
morning.
our club.
How are you?
Good.
Well, congratulations on starting this. This is awesome.
Thank you. So could you give us a little bit about your background and how you actually got into swimming and that stuff a little bit?
Yeah, that's great. I learned to swim at a pretty early age. At the age of 4, I had my first lesson. And by the age of 6, I was on the swim team. And I didn't realize it until much later on that for me, the water has been more than just a sport, and swimming is more than just a sport. It was my place of refuge in a very turbulent home with a father that was an alcoholic and 5 kids under the age of 7. And I know that when I went to the YMCA and learned to swim, that I just really enjoyed the feeling that I got from the instructors, because they made me feel like I was so important. And this was something that I did well. And I got a lot of praise and acceptance from that. And I continued to swim for many years and improve as I got older, even though I changed teams quite a few times. I always kind of seemed to claw my way back up to the top when I went from the bottom to the top, until about the age of 15, in which case by then I'd reached a pretty high national level and was destined to people around me to go to the Olympics. That I had the potential and the talent and the speed to do that. However, that 15th year of my life, the same year that I won the junior national championships, I had my first drink. And what happened was that really derailed me and went from where I was all in to the sport of swimming to all out. I wanted out of the pool and I wanted to go pursue other things that normal kids did. And that ended up being my the story of my swimming career for like the next 15, 16 years was in the water, out of the water, struggling, dealing with addiction. And it wasn't until age 31 that I got back in after I got sober. And that was just an amazing thing, because just like when I was 4 or 5, the water accepted me back, no matter how many poor choices I had made, no matter how many things I'd screwed up, all the scholarship opportunities I'd thrown away. I really the water said, come back. We don't care. We love you, get back in the water. And that is when my greatest success has come. And I actually am very blessed to reach 24 years of sobriety next week. So pretty cool. That's my best record.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you. All right, so let's get in with, I want to focus now on swimming in the pool. So how do you focus on swimming faster in the pool?
Well, one of the things that I learned along the way, and just to go back to my story just a tad bit, my dad was a musician and a band teacher, and he was also the alcoholic in the family. So I always thought that the only thing that I got from my dad was the gene for alcoholism, his dimple and blue eyes. But really what I got from him was this ability to teach. And I love helping people understand better ways to swim. So I don't teach swimming technique per se. I'm teaching people to think about what they're doing differently. So everybody knows pretty much how to swim, and the definition of a good swimmer or a successful swimmer is somebody that hasn't drowned. So there's a lot of difference between not being able to survive and Michael Phelps, clearly. But what people need to understand is swimming is actually very, very simple. First of all, you need to be able to have your balance. Now, same thing with on a bike, and the same thing with any sport, you have to have balance. But in swimming, it's very tricky because we are balancing on a moving surface. So the theory of people trying to get on their side and swim like a fish is actually completely the opposite direction you want to go. You want to make yourself a little bit bigger. You want to be more like a submarine or a whale, which is fat in the front. So number one thing is you got to find your balance. Number two is you got to trust the water and relax. That is awfully difficult for people to do. But if they can float on the water, hands outstretched, like with the arms like they're doing the YMCA dance, legs together and float. If you can float and trickle out your air and relax, then you've got a balanced, relaxed frame to put your stroke on. And then it's just really simply paddle your body like a surfboard. It's not rocket science. You don't want to upset. And then imagine if you want, you have a drink on your back and you can't spill it. So you're paddling your body down the pool, keeping your balance, trying to stay relaxed. And that's the really good start of a very simple but effective and very fast stroke.
That's great. So let me ask you another question. Sometimes when you're swimming in a master swimming group, and I know this happens to me sometimes because I get a little psyched out, and you have those negative thoughts. What do you do about those? I mean, do you get negative thoughts? And if you do, like, how do you alleviate that?
Oh, I do. And this is actually a system that I've started using about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I see you drinking a bottle of water. Okay. Our bodies are mostly water. And if we're in the water and we're speaking mentally negatively to ourselves, we're saying that to the water, and we're also saying it to ourselves and our body because they're mostly water. And what happens is whatever you project into the water is returned to you in kind. And there is a really cool book called Messages in Water, in which negative words are spoken into water and really ugly ice crystals are formed. It sounds really random, but when music or positive words are spoken to the same bottle water and they make ice crystals out of it, they're beautiful. So it's kind of woo-woo, but it's so true. So when I start getting negative, I turn it around and I say, and I do this in my races, I do this when I get stressed, I love you, water. I love you, water, make me strong. And what I'm saying really is I love you to myself. And that's really critical. And this is what I do when I start getting really tired at the end of a race or start getting kind of stressed. I just sit there and I remember I'm in the water loves me, I love it back. And as a result, it doesn't really matter what's going on. Everything just seems to melt away. And I kind of find that nice, calm, peaceful place, even with arms and legs thrashing around. So I love you, water.
Awesome.
Sounds crazy, but it works.
Love it. So there are so many different swimming techniques out there. I've gone to a lot of different types of groups, and people have taught me, said, keep your elbow up out of the water, keep your elbow outstretched or whatever. So can you talk a little bit about these different techniques and who you should actually listen to?
That's a great question because there is so much conflicting information out there. I mean, you can have two coaches on one deck saying totally opposite things. So let me preface this by saying that I have an endless pool, one of those swimming treadmills at my house. And the things that I have learned and the things that I am teaching come from going into that scientific environment that has no opinion and doesn't care who you are. You could be, Katie Ledecky. If we can figure out what that person is doing, myself included, that makes you go faster, it works. Why? Because if you do something that makes you go faster and the speed is static, then you run into the motor. And what happens when you do something that makes you go slower? You get pushed back. So my clients that come work with me in Kona are experiencing that, as well as seeing mirrors on the bottom and losing that balance. So back to the question about different techniques. There's a lot of old antiquated information out there. And so a lot of people are still talking about the high elbow recovery, which is basically what your stroke looks like. It's not really a function of speed at all. But all you have to do is look at the Olympic swimmers and the fastest swimmers in triathlon and notice that in the air, everybody's swinging their arm. And I'm in Birmingham, Alabama right now doing a workshop. And I have people swim ugly. And I have people try it small and then they go ugly. So bend the elbow to set the catch and swing it in the air. And people hit the wall and they go, how'd that feel? And they're like, that feels amazing. So it's recovery. And the bendy part is underwater. So now the biggest thing that I do get is that people are told, and this is even in current triathlon magazines, to push in the back. I want the audience to really understand that yes, there is a lot of power there. However, the power in the back is equivalent to the big gear on your bike. Should you spend your whole day in it going up hills? No. Your cadence slows, your power, you're wasting your energy, and on top of that, you're going slower. So you need to find the appropriate cadence. So I'm actually doing what feels like about a half of a pull, but it still looks like a normal pull. So it just means that I've let go of the power a lot earlier. And you'll see this with really good runners. You see not how much energy they're throwing down, but how quickly they get their foot up. Go watch fast Olympic swimmers and see how quickly their arm is getting out of the water. And that means that there's no way in heck that those people are pushing in the back. So I have found that if there's one thing that causes more problems in the stroke being efficient and easier is too long of a pull. So shorten it up, add that length to the front in a glide, and now you've actually created the same length of a pull, but it's just more in front rather than in the middle. So think front wheel drive.
Love it. Now, I know I've been to your swimming workshops in the past, and I know that what you do is you focus on things that you do wrong, and
Right.
then you correct them. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's a great contrast drills. Okay. Since I'm not teaching somebody to swim per se, I am teaching self-awareness. It is important for me to allow you to feel the differences of all of those suggestions that people might come up with and suggest to you at a master's workout, or even a well-meaning lifeguard or somebody saying, oh, you're not finishing your stroke, or you're not rolling enough. So I actually pretty much in the workshop, I will strip away everything, paddle your body like a surfboard, deliver a drink to the other side. And then after we get comfortable, we can now set up the catch. We work on getting out of the shorter pull. We start adding stuff back in, like, okay, well, let's put our hands back in towards the center to start your pull. Oh, wow, you really lose your balance. All right, let's roll. And people go, oh my goodness, why was I doing that before? Well, somebody suggested it and you took that suggestion. And then the finish of the stroke. And so I allow people to feel differences so they can make up their own mind. And that's critical. And just to say, no, that, you know, for a long time, people have been very confused about swimming. I actually let people do, and we are doing these in lengths, like half of the new stroke, half of the old stroke. I'll have them go half of the new stroke, and then I'll have them do the S pull. The S. And when people hit the wall, I'll ask, I'll say, what is, tell me what the S stands for. And I won't swear here, but people realize, you know, so an S pull moves water. You want the water to move you, just like a canoe, a kayak, stand-up paddleboard. So, so contrast allows people to compare, and that way, when they go back to their swimming program or to a coach, they have a reason why they're not doing these damaging swim techniques that are dispensed. So I think it's a great way to feel differences, and then you're going for a feeling. You're not going for a technique. You're going for a feeling. In swimming is the better you are, the less you feel. The worse you are, the less efficient you are, the more you feel. And that's kind of a tough one. Think about tailwind riding. Feels so good. Well, that's what good swimming feels like. It feels easy. You don't feel like you're bogging down, and you also don't feel like you're losing your balance and having to send out those feet to sit counterbalance. So that's the reason why we do those.
That's interesting. So years ago, they used to tell us to cup our hands, and now it's, you know, what is it? Do you keep your fingers open? Do you keep half of them closed? What's the proper way?
That is the latest secret that I have uncovered in the last couple of years. Tension in any sport is a killer. All right. And in swimming, it manifests in a hard hand. So I was watching the Olympics in Rio, and I've got a screenshot of Michael Phelps finishing his 200 medley, and his hand is like this, but it's turned slightly in. So you've got a paddle that is relaxed. And it's really, really, really important because, okay, I want the audience, everybody right now, grab your hand, okay? and I want you to tighten up your hand, make it really tight, put that thumb in there, right? Okay, so when you do that right immediately, your forearm is tight, and that's going to engage your shoulders for muscles. That's the wrong muscle, the traps and the forearm and the chest. Now, if you were just simply take that same hand and pull the thumb away, just the thumb. Keep your hand tight, keep your hand together, and pull the thumb away. And immediately right there, you just gotten rid of about half the tension, maybe more. So, and then just think about, like, turn your hand palm up and go palm up, and see that you can actually, you can feel more in a tight, in a loose palm. So the idea is tension. Relaxed is great. You feel the water. Tension, your hand knifes through the water. So it is now to just keep it relaxed, and you'll be amazed, because it feels so easy when you let go of that tension. It feels so good, but you don't trust it because it feels like you're doing so much less. I want you to take that and put it on the clock and do a 50 where your hand is tight, then get some rest, then do a 50 where your hand is relaxed. And by the way, if it's open and tight, that's not good. If it's open and relaxed, that's fine. If it's closed and relaxed, it's fine. It's just the tension we want out. So, and compare the time. You'll be amazed. You'll be like, and then your whole shoulder will thank you. Because remember, it's about relaxed, balanced power, not tense, tight. I mean, when we sprint, what do? When you go run a 50-meter sprint, do you tighten up? You teach yourself to try and relax. So that's a really big one. I've been having fun with it. When I find myself, I want to go faster, it's like, Karlyn, just relax. And I work with the water, and the water works with me back, and we go faster together.
Love it. Okay, so another question. Okay, we're not in the season yet. We're still gearing up for it. I mean, we're almost there. I mean, I guess another couple of weeks. But tell us, how often should we be swimming? And then once we're in season, how often should we be swimming? And how often should we be swimming in open water versus pool swimming?
Great. The rule of thumb when it comes to swimming, because if you're out of the water for a while, you really lose that feeling of what your swimming should feel like. So the rule of thumb is 3 times a week to have sustained and maybe a little bit of gains in your swimming. So 3 times a week, preferably a few more times than that if you can. But here's what I like to tell triathletes, and I myself, I'm a triathlete. It's my recovery sport from swimming, and I enjoy getting out and being on the bike, and the running is not exactly that easy, as all of us know. It can be a lot more injurious. But this is what I would suggest to the audience: is you want to double up your workouts. Like, for instance, if you're going to go for a bike ride, and it's a long bike ride, go drive to the pool, park your car there, meet your friends there, go for the ride, drop off your bike, and go get in the pool. And even if that is just a brief 20 or 30-minute swim, or even 10 or 15 minutes, I mean, you have to take a shower anyway. Go get in, do some streamlined push-offs to help realign your spine, stretch out your core, and you can do an easy swim. And what can happen is those extra little 20 or 15-minute swims on top of a run or a ride will add up to an amazing amount of feel. So you could go your 2 to 3 workouts, and then if you can, augment a little bit of an extra add in to after a run or a ride. And it feels always so good to get in the water. The most important thing I could say about open water season is you can't just do open water all summer long. As much fun as that is, what will happen is you're missing some really good benefits from the pool. First of all, you don't tend to work as hard, so you're not as accountable, so your speed drops. Number 2 is you're typically swimming freestyle the whole time, and you're not taking a break. That can be really hard on your shoulders. Think about it. In a pool, you swim 25, stop, turn around, unload the shoulders, push off, stretch, and then start swimming again. But you're not getting that benefit. And here's something that, Hillary, that I've come up with, as far as when you do a turn at a pool, whether it's a flip turn or even an open turn, especially, it's a burpee. So you're hitting the wall, you're doing a crunch, you're pushing, now you're twisting, and now you're pushing off the wall. And if you don't go to the pool for the entire summer, your core actually starts getting out of shape,
Huh.
because if you're used to swimming 2 to 3,000 yards in the pool, that's 80 to 120 turns. And so you're missing an ab workout and a great stretch from that streamlined position. So do both, mix it up. You'll keep your speed and you'll enjoy both the open water. So that's really, really super important. I hear that all the time. And you know what you could also do too, if let me see your wrist, Hillary. She's got her Garmin on. Okay. Okay. Well, if you are swimming open water, set that to ding every 400 meters, and every 400 meters, do 50 strokes of some other stroke, preferably probably backstroke or breaststroke or butterfly if you like it, just so you change it up. So every time you do it, and actually that's kind of fun if you're swimming with other people and you all set your watches to 400, because some of you might be better backstrokers than the other and breaststrokers, but the idea is change it up. So, and then another thing, if you're swimming open water to get some speed, one of my favorite things to do is a thing that I call 30, 20, 10. So I'll go 30 strokes, nice and easy, good technique. 20 strokes, I think about putting more gear on my stroke. So I put more PSI or pressure on my pull. And then 10 strokes, super fast. And then what I do is I roll back into 30 strokes now, active recovery with good technique, 20 strokes with more PSI, 10 strokes super fast. And you do that, so you're changing your speeds. And next thing you know, you're at your destination and you're like, oh, wow, I feel great. So that's kind of fun. You need to add some variety into each workout that you do so that you're not just doing the same thing over and over again.
Wow, that's great. That's a great thank you. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Outside of the water, are there any exercises that we should focus on? I know we're not, some of us, I know for me, I don't love doing strength exercises, but they are important. So what would you recommend us the most important strength exercise to do outside of the water that will help you get faster?
You know, swimming is mostly lats and back. So lat pull downs, pull ups. Here is, you know, even if you go do them with the assisted thing, but go to the pull up bar and see if you can do a pull up, and try that 3 times. And by the way, I do weight training 2 times a week. 3 times is just too much. If I try and add a third session, it ends up being a half a session. So I go 2 times and I work it pretty hard. And I'll dovetail that in after I swim because I'm already warmed up. But you know, not so much chest. I think that you want to, one that I've learned recently is called a goblet squat. And that's where you take the dumbbell and you hold it in your hand. I'm going to try and set this up. It's kind of hard to see. You hold the dumbbell, like 40 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever, and you squat. And that really, I've noticed, has really helped my hip flexors and stabilizers, as well as getting a good explosive push. And I can really feel that that has increased my speed off the wall. But as a triathlete, I think it's really important to take care of your hips. So lat pull downs, pull ups, some chest, but not a lot. And, you know, gosh, one of the best things you can do, obviously, it sounds fun, yoga. You know, yoga is so great for your entire body. So you're best to kind of work with somebody that does strength, and of course, obviously, core is always important because it holds up everything. Don't forget your obliques; those are important too.
Awesome. All right.
Times a week.
Awesome. So this is my last question to you is, you had mentioned offline that you have a camp. Can you talk a little bit about that and how we are athletes can get involved in it?
Oh, very cool. I do the swim technique workshops all over the United States and worldwide. And so the first thing is if you can look at my schedule on karlynpipes.com and you can see where I'm at, maybe you can make it to a workshop. That would be great. But the best thing to do is come to Kona. You are invited to come to Kona. And I call these mini camps. And these are not group camps. These are either 1 or 2 people, maybe 3, and with a lot of specific individual attention. So ideally, like, and that's for one, too, also. So one person. So if you contact me, make sure that I'm home, look at my schedule. And what you do is you want to schedule, you could do it on a weekend if you like, but Kona is a long way to go. So you might want to make the most of it and come for a whole week or even 10 days. And what we do is we set up a first appointment right away in the endless pool. And we get you in there. I get you in there and we analyze your stroke. Tons of videotaping. I use your own memory card, so I talk a lot on your video clips so that you are seeing what you're doing and what the suggestion is to fix it and how you're coming along. And we do that in the endless pool, the first session. The second session, we'll typically go to the ocean a couple days later. And then we'll do open water strategies, skills and drills. And I'll have a camera with me in my bathing suit and I film, and we're working on the technique as well. And then the third session is you decide, do you want to go back to the endless pool? Do you want to go to the regular pool and work on other strokes? Do you want to go back to the ocean? And so the ideal camp is about 3 sessions. It's about $600, and you walk away, and this is spread out, so you have tons of time to work on it. And it's really not. It's like you have plenty of time to go out and ride and run. You can rent a bike from Bikeworks, or you can bring your own bike over. By the way, Alaska Airlines only charges like $25 to bring a bike.
Wow.
All the way across, yeah. And Alaska just bought Virgin America. And so they are going to be incorporating all those East Coast flights. So Alaska is a great airline to fly, and the bike, it's not going to kill you to bring your bike. It's cheaper to bring it this way than put it on American or United. But so the neat thing is, at the end of this mini camp, you've had a great time. You've learned a lot about your stroke. You've had a lot of personal one-on-one attention with me, and you have a really clear idea of where you're headed. And so I really strongly suggest on karlynpipes.com, it's outlined how we can do it, and we can slice and dice it. You can also bring a small group, and I can do individual and group work. And point you in the direction to where the Queen K is. You can go ride your heart out and go run around. And there's also a lot of races in town. We have a monthly biathlon that's free called a P-Man race. So if you go to bigislandraces.com, you can see that there's a whole bunch of races that people, so you could ping it here so that you've got a race to do. And they're very casual and fun. Team Mango puts on a triathlon every month, and they're like $35. And the results are in the paper, and it's a real fun race, and we have a great community in Kona.
Awesome. Well, thanks.
So come to Kona. You don't have to be there for the Ironman. There's more reasons to come than that. That's actually more fun to come, not Ironman, especially if you're racing. So Hillary, when's your first race?
It's coming up, I guess, in July, probably. That's my first one. So that'll be the Rev 3 in Williamsburg. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Cool. I want to thank you so much. Oh my God, you are the best. And I've learned a lot, and I know my team's learned a lot. So I'm really, really happy that you took the time out to meet with us. Anybody who wants to get in touch with Karlyn, go to karlynpipes.com, and her information is right there. Thank you again, and I'm going to sign out.
All right, and one last thing though. There's some really great instructional videos that I've done, and I'm going to be doing more in the future, short little 2-minute clips. But if you Google Karlyn Pipes and Vasa, V-A-S-A, that's that swim machine, the dry swim machine. Mm-hmm. You will find a series of 5 videos, and they're reproducing a couple more with me giving instruction, and then how you can use it on the Vasa trainer. But the instruction is basically what I teach. And so it's a really wonderful resource. Some of these hand entry and the catch one have had 2 million hits. So check those out. You'll get a sense of how I teach, as you did today from this podcast. And I'm hoping that'll help, because I have no ego attached to this at all. I just want to help a lot of people swim better and demystify what is very confusing information, and keep it simple so you can have a faster freestyle and enjoy the swimming. Because I do need to tell you that when it's all said and done, the last sport you're going to be doing is probably swimming. So I want you to be a swimmer for life. So as a famous fish once said, just keep swimming.
Love it. All right. Thanks so much again. All right.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Congratulations. Good luck.